There's a moment when you're deep underground, belly down in a crawl space so tight you can't turn your head, when the silence starts to hum. And when your light flickers, you pray it's just the battery, because if it's not, you're already too deep to get out fast enough. I share this story with deep grief and sorrow in my heart. There were 4 of us. Me, my best friend Taylor, this dude Caleb, who was kind of a wild card, and Madison, my ex, actually. Long story there, but we were on decent terms, and we all shared one obsession: cave crawling. Not the pretty, touristy caves. We liked the forgotten ones, the abandoned mine shafts, the dry holes in Appalachian ridges where you had to dig just to fit through. No harnesses, no walkways, just you, a helmet, and hope. This one? It was called Red Fern Hollow. Not on any modern map, but an old guy at a gas station told us about it when we were passing through Tennessee. Said it had entrances scattered through private farmland, and warned us that people hear things down there. Classic old man spooky tale. We were hyped. We parked about a quarter mile from the spot, hiked across a dried-up creek bed, and found the mouth, a jagged split in the hill hidden behind brush. It was cold inside, damp, narrow. The kind of narrow that makes you feel like your ribs might crack if you breathe too deep. We marked our path as we went. Chalk lines, reflective tape, and glow sticks, one at every key junction. That was the plan. The third marker went down about 90 minutes in, right at a belly crawl through a limestone squeeze. That's when things started getting weird. First, Caleb's headlamp started flickering, then Taylor's, then mine. Not just flickering, sinking. Every few minutes, they'd all blink out for just a second. Not enough to panic, but enough to notice. Madison's stayed strong, though. She joked that maybe the cave had a crush on her. After the 4th marker, things got worse. The walls were getting narrower, but not like erosion. Like something had purposely narrowed them. We passed bones. Animal, maybe. Some looked too clean. Others were half buried in mud. A few had scratches on them like they'd been chewed. Caleb started making jokes, loud ones. He always got nervous and overcompensated. Madison told him to shut up. We were crawling through a tight stretch, me first, then Madison, then Taylor and Caleb behind, when everything went black. All 4 lights, gone. Total darkness. You've never experienced dark until you've been deep in a cave without light. It's not just black. It's alive. It presses in on you, fills your ears. Pause and imagine it for a second. We froze. No one said a word for maybe 30 seconds. Then Madison's light came back on. She looked at me and her face dropped. "Where's Caleb?" We called for him. Nothing. Taylor swore she felt him behind her just a moment before the lights went. Then we heard a sound. Metal scraping rock. Like something was being dragged. We didn't wait. We started crawling backwards, fast, bumping elbows, hitting walls, breathing too hard. We made it back to the 3rd marker. The glow stick was gone. Not dimmed. Gone. Like someone picked it up. Taylor's light came back on just in time to see something at the edge of the crawl tunnel. Not a person. Too thin. Too tall. Knees bent the wrong way. She screamed. We booked it. Clawed and kicked our way back through the squeeze, got scraped and bruised and bleeding. Madison dropped her helmet somewhere in the last tunnel. I think she left it on purpose. When we reached the surface, the sun had already started to set. We didn't wait for Caleb. The Rangers went in the next day. They didn't find Caleb. They didn't find any of our markers. Just one thing. A single glow stick, snapped and flickering, right at the entrance. None of us ever caved again. But sometimes I still hear that scraping sound when it's quiet. And I wonder if Caleb's still down there, or if something else got out. I'm not some thrill seeker or adrenaline junkie. I work as a data analyst, man. The most excitement I get most days is when the coffee machine doesn't jam. But my older cousin, Derek, is one of those grindcore adventurer types, always posting his narrow cave crawls, urban explorations, and survival treks online. I guess I was having a bit of an early midlife crisis or something, because when he invited me on a weekend trip to this unmapped but well-known cave system in the Missouri Ozarks, I said yes. It wasn't underwater, just your basic dry, crawl space type system. No gear beyond headlamps, food, water, a printed map, and spare batteries. There were 5 of us, total. Me, Derek, his girlfriend Lacey, and 2 of their friends, Aaron and Mateo. Derek had done the first part of this system before. He called it Cake, even with some tight squeezes. It was one of those horizontal entrances, like a hole in the side of a hill covered in brush and broken tree roots. From the outside, it looked shallow. We entered around 10 a.m. The plan was to reach the chamber by noon, eat, turn around, and be out by 3 p.m. max. The map was supposedly drawn by a guy who surveyed the whole system in the 90s. It showed a basic path, entry point, narrow passage, small crawl, left bend, 160 feet to the chamber. That's it. But after we passed what should have been the 3rd bend, nothing looked right anymore. The passage widened, then narrowed again into a space that wasn't on the map. We should have turned back, but Derek insisted we'd just taken a slight detour. It all connects back, he kept saying. At first, it was small stuff. The air was way colder than it should have been. The rocks were damp in places they shouldn't have been. Not dripping, just clammy. And none of our compasses agreed. Seriously. 3 different digital compasses, and they all pointed in slightly different directions. Even Derek, who never gets rattled, started pacing and muttering. At one point, he shushed us all and said, "Hold up. Anyone hear that?" We stopped. And yeah, there was a sound. Not voices, not water, just this faint shuffling, like fabric dragging over stone. We assumed it was someone deeper in the cave, but when we called out, nobody answered. We tried to backtrack, but every time we thought we were retracing our steps, we ended up somewhere new. Like we'd crawl through a narrow chute and emerge in what looked like the same chamber. But something would be slightly off. A pile of stones that hadn't been there before. A half-burnt matchstick we knew we didn't drop. At one point, Lacey freaked out because she saw her own water bottle. Same brand, same sticker placement, sitting on a ledge we hadn't reached yet. "I didn't put it there. I didn't put it there," she kept saying. Our headlamps started glitching. First Mateo's, then Aaron's. Then all at once, we were just in the dark. We turned them back on, and Aaron was gone. We all yelled, panicked. It took 20 minutes of screaming before she crawled back into view, from a different tunnel. Said she swore she was following our voices. But we hadn't moved. We stopped trying to solve it after that. No more trying to map where we were. No more arguing over turns. We just stuck together, rationed food, and kept moving. Derek broke first. That man, who'd led all his Instagram followers into hell and back? He started muttering stuff like, "We're not under the ground. This isn't the cave anymore." Mateo snapped at him, said he was just hungry and disoriented. But I was starting to feel it too. Time stopped making sense. My watch said 5 p.m., but my phone said 2 a.m. the next day. I had a beard shadow forming, and I'd shaved right before we left. When we finally got out, it was quiet. Birds were chirping. Sun was up. The wind felt too warm, too soft, and none of us said a word for like 5 straight minutes. We just lay in the grass and stared at the sky. Back at the cars, Derek checked the log he kept in the glove box. It said Sunday, but according to the weather app on my phone, it was Tuesday. We lost nearly 2 full days. We didn't sleep, didn't eat more than a few granola bars, but we weren't even hungry. We all went our separate ways after that. No post-trip barbecue, no group photos. Derek deleted every video clip and photo from his phone. His account went dark. I have a different job now. I work remote, don't go out much, and I can't even look at photos of caves anymore.